Welcome back to The Good Influence, your weekly dose of unfiltered girl talk, fitness, and the journey of becoming. We're your hosts, Kelbi,
Chelsea,
Suzanne, and Francesca.
What's up, guys? We are so happy to be back. Chelsea just crushed it at her Hyrox.
PR'd.
Tell us about it.
5 minutes. Oh my God, that was the best experience of my life. I felt incredible, like quite literally incredible the entire time. I didn't tell Taylor beforehand, like my back was a little bit like hurting going into like Thursday morning. And I was like, fuck, I can't tell her. And then it ended up, sorry, I am not ready today. And we did amazing. Absolutely amazing. Like she, for not training, did an incredible job and she feels guilty about it. And I just want her to know that like she did so good. It was just the best feeling. We felt great the whole time. Our runs went down by a minute each. So we averaged like 4:45 versus 5:45 the last time. I don't know. It was just, it felt so good to like properly train, get things going for us. And now we know that we can.
Do you get stats at the end of every station and every run? Like,
yeah, so there's an app that you can download. It's called RoxFit, and it has all of your previous races on it. So you can compare, like we compared Dallas to this one, and you could see like where the difference was in each station, each run, the average, where you ranked amongst everyone you competed with. Like,
so did you improve in everything, or was it mainly?
So our stations were basically the same.
Okay,
like by the second, but our runs, each run improved by a minute. So that's where you can really improve.
Because how many times are you running?
You run 8 times and there's 8 stations.
Okay.
So if you really want to do good in this, you have to be great at the running. That's where you're going to kill your time, is the running.
Yeah.
And how long is the run? A mile?
It's a kilometer. So it's 0.62.
Okay.
So you run first, it's 2 laps, and then it's...
Yeah, it depends on where the Red Bull's entrance is. So like this one was, you had to pass, you go in on the third in. So there's an in and an out arch. You have to pass the in once, pass it twice, and you come in on the third one. And then when you come out for the other ones, it's like you pass it, you come in on the second one. And then it's like a brain game where you have to figure out like, okay, what lap are we on? What station are we going to? Like yelling at each other, like, okay, we're going this way. And each rock zone is different. So the layout for every race is completely different. So you don't know until a few days before.
Dang, what if you accidentally just keep going?
Some people have run extra laps.
Oh, God.
Some people have run extra laps because they didn't calculate.
That'd be Suze.
Do they get to take it off the next one? Like you would just...
Nope.
Oh. Nope. So maybe I can't do Hyrox. That's another reason. Tack it on.
It's hard. Yeah. Well, I think the burning question now is Hyrox number 4. What's next?
Yeah, for sure. We're 100% doing Dallas, but I think I'm going to dabble in mixed doubles.
Ooh. So what is mixed doubles is with man and woman? How does it work? Okay.
So I'll do it with a guy. So I do it with one of my friends and it's heavier weight.
Ooh.
So it's women's pro weight. So it's just a little bit more.
You got this, girl.
I want to do
You got this.
Really exciting.
I really want to do it.
Okay, but that also makes more sense as to why people get so addicted to doing Hyrox, is if you can see like exactly, where you're improving every single time. Like,
and knowing that you're improving, you're like, okay, I really want to now really train to do it even better.
Yeah.
It's addicting. It's really addicting. And people are in the sport are so annoying with it. Like, oh, I'm training for Hyrox. I'm doing this. I did this. Like, it was the best experience. I'm so happy that we had the time that we did.
Well, while you were crushing it, I think all of us were doing family time. I'm sure you did too whenever you got back home.
I caught a red eye back home to make it home for Easter because I was like, I just want to get home. So yes, I was with my family yesterday.
Yeah, and I think family time is always fun, right? Like fun in a sense. But I think it's so funny because I was thinking about this on the flight home yesterday. I was with Andrew and we're talking about our families. And, whenever you get married, you have to split your time. If both families are still a part, of your family, you have to split time between what holiday you're going to be where. And it's just so interesting, like the relationship with your parents and how it changes as you get older. And I don't know that it ever really gets easier, those things. I think maybe whenever you have your own family, it gets a little bit easier, like your immediate family, because you can start staying home and then maybe the other relatives will come see you, but we'll see. But it just got us thinking about parents, and I thought it'd be fun to, go a little bit deeper and talk about our parents and our experiences with them and how it's changed over the years.
Yeah, I think relationships, family, that kind of relationship is so important. I think it's good for us to take a more serious side of the podcast and deep dive into our lives.
Yeah, and just get to know us a little bit better. And hopefully some people at home can relate to these experiences too, because at the end of the day, you hear us week by week, but we are still human and we go through ups and downs in our lives.
100%.
I will say the silver lining of having, an interesting relationship with your parents growing up is that sometimes you only have, we always go to Chad's family for holidays and stuff like that, since my relationship with my parents is a little strained. So there's always a little silver lining in everything for,
Absolutely.
the way you choose to see it. But yeah.
That's how my sister and her family is too. They don't really speak much to my brother-in-law's family. So for all the events or
Your
occasions,
mom.
They're always at my mom's. Yeah.
And I'm sure your mom is so excited that she gets to host them and the kids for everything.
And so, just like you said, that part of it is fun because you get to really deepen and strengthen those relationships with that side of the family. But in turn, right, it is unfortunate that sometimes you do have to cut parents off in various ways. And I know that you've had a similar experience. So, first, can we lay out just an overview of your background and I guess how you grew up to give the audience a better idea?
Yeah. So, like I said in the very first episode when we did our intros, nothing about my life I feel like has been very cookie cutter. My mom ran off with a German man when she was in her 20s and had me in Germany, and then he kind of left us on our own. He pretty much abandoned us there. And so she.
How old were you? How old were you when that happened?
Lived, born.
No, whenever your dad decided that he wanted to take a step away.
He was never really there.
Okay, so just from the beginning.
Yeah, so this is a whole other tangent, but he actually lived with my family in the States for a long time while we were in Germany just on our own. But that's, I don't know, that still kind of confuses me and I never really connected the dots. But essentially my mom and I were in Germany by ourselves. And I can't even imagine what that would be like to raise a kid in a country where you don't even speak the language. So I have a lot to be thankful to my mom for. But growing up, we were super, super close. Obviously, it was just the two of us. We did everything together. And then as I grew up and became an adult, we kind of drifted apart. And I think that's tough because when you become an adult, you almost re-meet your parent because you're an adult now and they're an adult and you start to see them as just another adult. And you have to re-meet them not as a child who this is your whole world, your parent. Oh my God, everything you've ever known. Your parents can do no wrong as a child. But then when you become an adult, you start to see them kind of on the same level as you see yourself, or just, you watch them experience and navigate things that you are also navigating because now you're an adult too. And that just, I don't know. We really grew apart to the point where it was a big strain, and it got to the point of therapy and things like that. But
would you want to talk through some of the experiences to how it got to that point? Because I think all of us can agree that as you grow up, of course you disagree with your parents on things and you start to grow apart, but obviously everybody has a different experience on how deep that goes.
Right. Yeah. So what's interesting is that growing up, I actually didn't have a ton of disagreements with my mom. I did in the way that every teenager does, but she was always I was always number one. She always made sure that I had so much confidence. She always my love for fitness came from her. She always made sure I felt supported in everything. So it's kind of funny because I do feel as a kid, I got more support from her than maybe some of my peers did. I didn't have a ton of rules. But then as I became an adult, okay, so I could tell a story for 2 hours on every little thing that's happened. But I'm sure everyone is going to understand what I'm saying when you have somebody in your life that just pokes. And it's just a bunch of little things that start to add up. And then the pot boils over. But my mom has had a strained relationship with somebody in her life throughout her entire life. As long as I can remember, there's always been somebody where the relationship has been strained, somebody that, was just kind of her enemy in a sense. And when I became an adult, somehow that person became me, which is really unfortunate. And I'm not mad at my mom, but I do want her to find help because I think that's a really stressful way to like live your life. So after my wedding, you know, things kind of boiled up to a head. And to your point, you know, when you get married, things do change and you have a new family unit, right? It's you and your husband, and that's the new family unit. And so it kind of became this point for me of like, okay, if I'm going to take a stand and something is going to change in our relationship, it has to be now, or else, you know, it's just kind of like, okay, well, you know, you've dealt with this for so long. Like, why are you suddenly not dealing with it anymore? And so that was kind of the, you know, what getting married and the wedding became for me. I asked her to go to therapy, and it became an ultimatum. And she did go to therapy, which I was really proud of her for doing. But I don't think that it was ever something that she was doing because she thought that she needed to be doing it. I think that it was always something that she was doing because I told her that she needed to do it. And so she was like appeasing me. And we started separate sessions. So her and I were seeing the same therapist. We eventually decided it was time to do group sessions, and everybody, like I know I got my hopes up really, really high. I know the therapist got her hopes up really, really high. And then we got to the group sessions, and we made it 2 sessions before my mom started gaslighting me in front of the therapist. And then we had a 3rd session because like, I can't stress this enough. Like, I'm not mad at my mom. I just really like, we are very, very different people, but I think that it probably really sucks to live inside her head. And this is something that I've told her. But at the end of the day, like, therapy only works if you think that there's something that needs to change. And I don't think that she believes there's anything that needs to change. So ultimately she decided that relationships shouldn't be this hard, and she did not want to continue. So that's kind of where we're at now. And it's weird, and it's not lost on me, like, how sad that is. But at the same time, you know, it's just like, it doesn't make me broken. It doesn't make me like unlovable. It doesn't make me like, oh my God, like, I don't know. I don't feel sorry for myself. It just is what it is. If anything, I feel bad for her. And I mean.
Did you ever feel like you had like some kind of, not like pressure or guilt, but just because she's your mom, that you had to like always work on this relationship and not let her go because of she's your mom?
Yeah, 200%. I mean, it's tough. Like, you feel like these people that are your family are people that you're not allowed to give up on. And it does feel like you're giving up on them to like let the relationship end. But then at the same time, like, you know, a lot of people say like, oh, your parents are living life for the first time too. I give them grace. And like, I believe that 2000%, but at the end of the day, that's not like a free pass to continue treating people, you know, however you want to without having any repercussions of your own. And this whole process has really taught me that, unfortunately, like, not everybody lives in the same reality. And so I think when we approach like conflicts with other people, be it family, be it friends, you know, whatever, we think that we're approaching it like how we would think about it, right? Like, if I have a conflict with somebody, I'm like trying to be like, okay, how would I feel in this situation? How would I feel in this situation? And I always would be like, oh, well, if I did this, like, I would feel so bad. I would feel so guilty. But like, she doesn't, or at least I don't think she hasn't done anything to make me, you know, think that she feels guilty about it. So it's like, you kind of have to take that and move forward with that idea of like, okay, this person is not living in the same reality that I'm living in.
I had a question so I know you said that you watched her and it seemed like she always had some sort of enemy, and then it transitioned and all of a sudden it was you, and you feel like you have become this enemy, however you want to say it. What was the moment where you felt that way, and how did it make you feel when you started to realize that?
I remember the exact moment. I was 18 and we got in a fight, and I was living with my aunt at the time, and she texted my aunt and I in a group message together and said that we could consider that we don't know her anymore, which was really tough for an 18-year-old. I was like, what are you talking about? I came out of you. Like, what do you mean I don't know you anymore? And so I think that is when it first started clicking to me that this person is not, like, she doesn't think the way that I do, and she doesn't think the way that we assume most people think. And it's kind of been a mind fuck in a way, because I'm like, how many people think this way? Like, how many people are just, but I think that it's tough because it's not her fault and it's not my grandma's fault and it's not, but I think that like families get into these cycles of like the way that a mother treats a daughter, and then that trickles down, and then that trickles down, and then that trickles down. And it just becomes the way that you treat people, and nobody wants to fix it because that means that you're accepting fault. And that means you have to take on this embarrassment of like you were part of the problem, but that's the only way you fix it.
Mm-hmm. So you realize this, and this was at 18, and you move on. You eventually meet Chad. And I know, like you said, whenever you get married, everything kind of changes in life and what your core values are. How does Chad, is he even a part of this situation, or how does he deal with this?
He's kind of my voice of reason. I'm so grateful for my relationship with him that he understands what it is that I'm doing, and I'm doing this like for us. Like I absolutely would love for my mom to have a relationship with her grandkids. Like, I mean, if she came up to me tomorrow and was like, I get it. Mm-hmm. Like I get it and I'm so sorry, then yeah, I would welcome her back into my life with open arms. But the problem is like, you cannot just keep letting people have chances and take your energy and take. And so, I mean, I'm very grateful that he kind of took a back seat and like let me sort through this on my own time. I mean, let me like vent to him and, whatever I need. And he fully understood. At no point was he like, cut it off now or keep going or this or that. He really just let me take what I needed and go through this at my own pace. Yeah, I'm really grateful to him for that, but I'm also like, I don't know what I was gonna say next. I think I'm just talking at this point.
You're not. I also, sorry, and I know I'm like rattling. I hope I'm not like asking too many questions here, but it's just this, I think there's a lot of people at home that probably can relate. And if there was something that you could tell younger Suzanne who was going through this, maybe the initial signs of this relationship that was breaking, is there anything that you would want to go back and tell her, or maybe even someone at home that is dealing with something similar?
Yeah, I mean, I would just say like, I think our idea of holding people accountable for things is forcing them to apologize. And like, I'm never going to get an apology out of my mom. And that's something that I've had to come to terms with. And it sucks, but like, I'm never going to get that apology. She never apologized to me for saying that I could consider that I don't know her. Like that did not break our relationship. We came back together. Her version of apologizing to me is sending me memes on Facebook. It's like very like, abusive relationship core, to be completely honest. But, I'm never going to get that like genuine apology. And I think that a lot of times when we are ending relationships like this, be it a mom, a partner, whatever, we like think that our closure that we need is like an apology, but sometimes like you're just never going to get that, and you are continuing to steal peace from yourself the longer that you search for this apology that you're never going to get. And sometimes the only way to hold somebody accountable for the way that they have hurt you or impacted you is just to remove yourself. And that's the only thing that you can do. And like that has to serve as like the accountability that you're holding them to. And like whether it hits home or not is not really like your business, because it's like to protect yourself at that point and to protect your future family, or like because the thing is too, like having a relationship with somebody like this, it affects you, not just you, but like it affects the way that you treat the people around you. Mm-hmm. Right. And so it's like, I can't continue letting somebody treat me this way and then risk that trickling into any of my other relationships, because I would never want to reciprocate what I'm feeling onto anybody else, Mm-hmm. And so I think like you just have to let go of that need for an apology.
And it's such an important lesson, even not just parents. You could use that for anybody or anything in life. Like I think if there are relationships that you've tried and tried again and they're just draining you, and there's nothing positive that at this point can come out of it, then the healthiest thing to do is to cut them off for the time being, right?
Right. And the time being like the key word there. Because it's like, I never went into therapy wanting to change my mom and change who she is. Like, and that was something that my therapist told me early on too. Like, okay, going into this, like, your mom is who she is. You're not going to change her. And I think that's like another issue that sometimes when you go into things like therapy, you should never have the intention of changing like who somebody is to their core. But like genuinely, I just want her to be happy. And like, I know she's not happy. I mean, she is like, at some point in her life, she decided the world was out to get her. And it's really hard to have a relationship with somebody that doesn't trust you, that doesn't trust anybody. I mean, she doesn't trust me. Mm-hmm. We haven't had a genuine conversation in years. And like, if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, like you're lucky. But it's really hard to have a relationship with somebody that they won't let anybody in. Mm-hmm. I mean, I personally, I know I like to talk, but I could not imagine having a thought and not being able to share it with somebody. To keep all of that inside has to eat you alive. And like, more than anything, I just want her to find help in that way, but I can't force that on her. Right. I can't force that on anybody.
I feel like for you especially too, because the way you describe your mom, and then just like knowing you, like you're so happy-go-lucky and trusting and just like genuine and sweet. So to like you said, like become an adult and like you have all this confidence in yourself as an adult, even though you kind of had the upbringing that you did. I can only imagine how difficult it was, but it's almost admirable, like it makes me emotional just because I have really like a totally opposite relationship with my mom. So hearing about like any sort of strained mother relationship really gets to me. So like it's very admirable that you were able to like put yourself first and do that.
What's really weird is that everything my mom taught me growing up is kind of at odds with the way that she is. I'm incredibly grateful to her for a lot of things. Like, she would make me kiss myself in the mirror at night. Like, she would make me tell myself I was beautiful. Like, there was a lot of really, really great things that she instilled within me. And like, when we lived in Germany, like, we were in a real shit situation. I mean, this woman had to learn German. Like, what? Like,
that's one of the hardest languages.
Like what? Like, and so, there's a lot of really badass shit that she did. But like at some point, I don't know what happened. I really don't. At some point, she just decided like the world was, and I have lots of theories on that, but that's also neither here nor there. One thing that she always used to say was like, jump and the net will form. And like, I think that's why I'm so trusting. And I'm so like, I can do anything because if I have the right mindset, like I'll be fine. And so it is odd. And like in a lot of ways, like I feel like I'm mourning a person that's still alive, which is really
harder.
Weird.
It's harder than someone who's actually gone. Yeah.
But you know what? I don't like, and I don't ever want to make anybody feel uncomfortable. Like when and I know this wasn't your point in saying that, but like when you say you have such a great relationship with your mom and it just makes you like sad to hear that I have this relationship with mine, I actually love hearing about people's like positive relationships with their family because I want that with my kids. Like, I know that it's kind of like that ship has sailed for like my parents, but I really don't, this doesn't cripple me in any way. And like,
I know that it doesn't, like, I can tell that it doesn't, and that you, and like, it's like, I don't know, just like even the way that you are, like you're so open to like hanging out with people's moms, like it doesn't make you feel sensitive or any type of way because you're so secure in yourself.
No, I love it. I love it because it's what I want. Yeah. It's the type of mom I want to be. And so it's like, if I can hang out with your mom and like be like, oh,
yeah, I like that.
I'm gonna write that down. Yeah. I'm gonna write that down. I'm gonna do that with my kid. You know, all this stuff. And like it's so, and it's Chad's family is like the, like the picture perfect, like little white picket fence family. They're so cute, and they do all of the cute little traditions. I mean, she brought us Easter egg stuff to like this wedding that we went to this weekend, and it's just adorable. And like, I don't want to like completely just, I have other family members besides my mom. And, but I just think it's important. Like, it's just really important to like figure out your own mental health. And it's important to figure out like, why am I not okay? And it's important to acknowledge if you're not okay. Like, are you not happy every day? Like, do you look at somebody else and assume things about them? Do you make assumptions about things that other people are thinking about you? Like, if somebody didn't say something to your face, like, you have no business assuming whatever. And so it's important to like, if you're having thoughts like that, like why? And can you get them to go away? Because you deserve to not have those thoughts. Like everybody does.
I also just want to say, Suzanne, I want to cry because I just know you're going to be the best mom.
Yeah.
Like literally ever. Like you embody everything about like motherhood and just like I look up to you and I just think you're such an amazing person.
Because the type the type of friend that you are, like it's obvious like the type of mom you're going to be, know? So it's
like how special in life that we get to create our own family. That is the point of life. We get to do these things and build the family we want, and you're going to do that.
And it's admirable too that you're letting, instead of like being guilty and like kind of being a certain way, you're just like, no, I'm breaking the cycle here.
Yeah.
And I'm going to let my future be dependent on me, not because of how I was raised and treated by my mother.
Yeah. And like you said, like you don't want to ever make anyone feel the way that you felt. Like you're not going to now. You know what I mean? Like you know exactly what not to do and exactly how you can create your family, your own traditions, everything the way that you want to do it.
So I mean, honestly, to be my fear is more so the complete opposite. Like I feel like I'm going to be like, you're gonna hang out with me, and just I mean, that's almost my fear is almost the complete opposite.
You're going to be the mean girl's mom.
Yeah, I want to be like, you guys want more alcohol? No, I'm not because I mean.
I
think you will be.
So interesting. You say
you 100% will be.
I'm gonna be like, want to feel my new boobs?
Actually. But you saying that your fear is that is really interesting because my mom came from a really, really rough upbringing where, it's her story to tell, but she grew up in a children's home. She never had a stable home life, and literally anything bad that could happen to a child happened to her. Like it's really, really awful. And it does make you question the world and how it all works. And, she still came out on top and worked through it all. But she grew up in that where it was very unstable and she didn't have a mom. And so in turn, she became extremely overbearing with me and my sister and like love her to death. And we still have a great relationship. But all she wanted in life was her own family, right? And so whenever she had me and my sister, she just was all in on that. She literally started a career around us. Like she wanted to spend so much time with us and didn't trust anyone with her kids because of what the world did to her. So she started daycares and that's what she did in life and for the first 10 years of my childhood. And it's funny because that affects me to this day and I realize it more and more. Like whenever Andrew and I say we'll get in a fight or whatever, he's somebody as soon as we make up, he's super affectionate, wants to give you a hug, a kiss. And I'm like, I need 10 minutes. I don't want to be touched. I don't want to be talked to, looked at. And I think it all stems from, just childhood and how we grew up. But it's just funny that you say that because I feel like I can relate that to my mom so much. Yeah. And it's funny. There's things about you and my mom that are a lot alike.
It's really, really crazy how you grow up and things come out. I'm still in therapy. And it's so important to me. I love it. I feel like my therapist is my friend. I don't know if she's supposed to be my friend, but I feel like we're friends. And so in my head, we're friends. But in my head, I'm her favorite client, But it's so important. And I think that you don't realize things that are going to come out. And so I think that anybody out there, if you have a strained relationship with your parent and you want to start a family of your own, or if you don't, whatever, therapy, I think is so important because it's things come up that I'm not really expecting. And then I have somebody to talk to about them. And it's not somebody that's my friend or my husband who's going to take my side. It's somebody that's going to be okay, well, let's slow down or let's think about it. But it's been so awesome to have a safe space to share, just my thoughts.
Huge advocate of therapy.
Huge advocate.
Yeah, I think we all are. It's so important. And there's just so much you can learn from it about yourself more than anything. Because isn't that the point of a therapist? It's not like they're giving you the answers. They're helping you find the answers to whatever it is. They're just asking you questions so you can kind of navigate your own mind, right?
Right. Yeah. But you do have to be open to the idea that maybe you're not right all the time or else it's just not going to work. You're not going to get anything out of it. Okay, but I want to hear more about you growing up with
me
your
and
mom.
Brenda.
I love Brenda. I feel like Brenda is my
Shelby and Brenda.
Yeah, no, guys.
Mom.
So Kelbi, Shelby, dogs were Molly Mae, Samantha Shea, the whole thing.
Love that.
She said, "Nuclear family, go."
Yeah.
Icon.
Literally Disney movie. Let's go. So I mentioned this before, but I think something that's so different about my childhood is that I grew up with parents who had a 30-year age gap. 30 years is crazy. I mean, it felt like I grew up with my mom, and then my dad honestly played more of a grandpa role, which is weird to say because he's my dad, but like that is what he did. Like I didn't have a dad that could like take me outside and practice ball or like do any of those fun dad things. Like he just was older. I mean, he was late 60s, mid 60s when I was born, right? Like it's just different. And so I remember growing up, I would always be a little embarrassed of it, which now I think back and I'm like, who cares? Like literally who cares? But I remember just like being out, we'd go to the grocery store, and in specific, this one time, this like lady was checking me out, and my dad got me like candy or something, and she was like, oh my gosh, you have such a good grandpa. And I was like, oh my gosh. And like from then on, like you're just, as a child, it's so easy to be embarrassed about anything, right? So I was embarrassed about that. Now who cares? But there was that. And then since he was older, like my dad was the stay-at-home dad. He was already retired. He was a retired superintendent, school teacher, and then my mom was the breadwinner. Also a weird dynamic. But it's something that I wouldn't change, because even though he was older and he didn't get to do all those things for me, like he was the kindest, gentlest, just best dad that I could have asked for. Like he never raised his voice at me and my sister, ever. Like literally ever. Caught me running away and was like, Kelbi, get in the car, we're going home. I'm like, okay. Like literally just the best. Or like sometimes my mom and my sister would get in bad screaming matches whenever my sister was growing up, and my dad would like be my savior. He'd like come in my room and be like, we're gonna get out of here. I'm like, okay. We just like go for a drive. So like he was the best. And whenever I was 13, my world kind of flipped upside down, because I remember vividly my mom picked me up from my volleyball practice and she was like, hey, we got to talk in the car. And I'm like, okay, I'm 13, whatever, right? Up until then, my life had been pretty normal, I would say. And, you know, she told me your dad has stage 4 colon cancer. And at that point, you don't really know what that means. Like I never envisioned my life without my dad, right? And so it kind of feels like the world's collapsing on you in that moment. And I think I learned really quickly in that moment that like everything can change. Not me throwing my pen, sorry. But like everything can be taken from you in a split second, and your life can be totally different. And so for the next year, you know, we did the whole thing. He had surgeries and radiation. And since he was older, we put him in a rehab center, but rehab was also like a nursing home. And like, that's something that I think a lot of kids don't have to do. Every day after school, I went to visit my dad in a nursing home. And like, I remember vividly, like the smells, and like, it was such a sad place to be. And we went every single day. And that was my 7th and 8th grade years. And then when I was 14, he had passed. And I think I learned that although losing my dad at that age was so heartbreaking and gut-wrenching, like crucial years of your life, that I was able to turn it around and realize, and it sounds dark, but like death is inevitable. We're all going to die one day, even the closest people to you. And it just makes you want to live your life like so fearless and to the fullest. And I think that really shaped me into who I am now. Like I love to go out and explore new places. And I thrive if I'm somewhere where I know not a single soul. That's my favorite. I love it. I love being somewhere where I know nobody and just doing things and being able to have as many, like the most experiences that I can, so that whenever I die, I can look back and like smile on my life, right? And I think, yeah, just losing a parent, it's one of the hardest things we have to go through, but I think it's one of the most special things we go through as humans, because you feel an emotion so deep that I don't think you can feel anywhere else. Maybe when you lose like a sibling or a child, it's something similar, but being able to experience that pain shapes us and makes us who we are. It's such a crucial moment.
But when did you see it as something beautiful? Because I'm sure when it happened in the immediate aftermath, like you were devastated and sad, like your whole life was different. So like, were you kind of like, okay, let me like change my mindset about this and see like the silver lining? Or did it take you a few years as you got older to kind of like see the beauty behind it?
That's a great question. And I think I was able to come to terms with it by the time he passed. And I think that's because he had an illness. Yeah. So that's something beautiful about somebody that it has a chronic illness, right? And again, it sounds dark to say, but like you can mentally prepare yourself. Yeah. So I had time to think about it, and I kind of knew what was coming for at least 6 months up to his death. And I think that time was where I started to really shift my mindset and think about, how can this be something special that I can remember and not this horrible grieving time in my life.
That's a very admirable way to cope with something like that. And I feel like you probably saved yourself a lot of grief, like in very formative years. So,
yeah.
You think that's something that your mom instilled in you kind of while he was going through his treatment? Or do you feel like that's something that you kind of came to on your own? Like,
that's a good question. I think my mom did play a huge part in it. And I think, again, because of the way she grew up and how she had nothing, it was, I always had that in the back of my head that was a little bit of a possibility, and getting to hear her and her experiences and then see what she made her life from there. I think that made it much easier for me to grasp the idea of death and move forward from it.
Right, because you probably didn't feel like, oh, now I'm going to be
It's
so
over.
different from everybody else because you have your mom, but
Exactly.
she had a very similar
Exactly.
experience.
Yeah, and it's not to switch the subject, but it is a little funny, this memory. I do remember I went in, so my dad passed one week. The next week, it was the first week of high school. Like, not a great timing, right? So I go to school and I'm like, it's like the second day of school, and I'm like sitting in my class, my English class. My school, over the entire intercom for the full school, goes, "Can we please see Kelbi Harden to the counseling office?" And I was like, was there not a more discreet way y'all could have checked on me? Oh my gosh. Talk about like the poor 14-year-old Kelbs just going through it. And then they do that. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
Should they just
So you know
pass
what?
the note to the teacher?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
You will rue the day. when they
I
make that
actually I don't think that these schools are getting properly trained on like how to, because I have also memories like this of teachers being like, I remember scraping my knee one time and my teacher being like, "I know your parents are divorced," and I was like, "What?"
I just need a
Ma'am,
Band-Aid.
I'm bleeding. And
dying
then
over here.
also my dad wasn't allowed to pick me up from school because my mom was worried I was going to get kidnapped and taken overseas again. But that was like something that they would like talk. I was like, I don't think we need to talk about this. Like, I think we need to just keep
I think
this.
we're actually good on that part.
Yeah, I think maybe it's these small towns that we grew up in that they didn't have.
100%.
Yeah,
There's
like
not
maybe-
enough training going on there.
Maybe in the city they have enough kids that they're like of different situations, but like in these small towns they're like,
Anybody checked on Kelbi recently?
we never had one like you before.
So
my
that
God.
was fun. But yeah, no, it's just it shaped me into who I am today, and I think I learned so much from it. And then now my mom and I have a great relationship. I also now have the best stepdad ever. Him and my mom met when I was like 17, I want to say 16 or 17, and Scotty's a part of our life now, and he came and embraced me and Shelby with big open arms, and he's just like the best, sweetest, most loving guy ever. Like it's best case scenario, because I get to have now a really cool new dad. So yeah.
Well, do you think like also your dad's age like impacted the way that you were able to handle the situation so well? Because obviously you grew up knowing that
was going to happen sooner than later compared to my other friends' dads, right? So I think that was definitely a part of it too. Yeah, just knowing that age was going to be a factor. Yeah. Yeah. So interesting, but
well,
flip it to a
should we get happier with it?
I think let's get a little happier.
Mine's
with
just
it, guys.
I mean, I'm really close with so it's me and my brother and my parents. And growing up, I would say I was in a strict household. I wouldn't say super strict, but I was not allowed to have MySpace, all this stuff. I had curfew. I had to check in. I didn't have a phone until 8th grade, and it was just I was always a rule follower. I was always oh yes, I'll do this, yes, I'll do this. And my dad was when we would get in trouble, he was the one who would yell at you, and it was kind of Chelsea, no, you get your shit together. And I had times where I would be sneaky. I remember I was in 7th grade and I was not supposed to have MySpace.
Yeah, I want to know what is sneaky for Chelsea.
Yeah, I was I was not supposed to have MySpace, and we have the office was in the downstairs, and the way that the room was set up, you could see the monitor from the reflection of the window, and so I'm down there on MySpace, and so I could see them walk towards me. So then when they would come, I would shut it down. They're like, "What was on there?" I was like, nothing. Got in so much trouble for having MySpace. So then I switched to Zanga, and
you were a part of Zanga.
I was doing like the coding to get all the all that stuff. But like growing up, we had like my mom made dinner every single night. We had family dinner every night. My mom would drive me to soccer practice. Like it was like the all American family. And I think that was having a stricter household. Like, yes, I wasn't able to drink at all. Like until I got to college, like all the kids would be partying in high school and I would have to be home. I would have to be home by like 10:30. But it really shaped me to be who I am today. And me and my mom I'm more personality wise like my dad. My dad's very reserved and kind of just like chill and laid back. My mom we call her Chatty Cathy for a reason because that girl, she was a cheerleader in college. She can talk to a wall. She is like bubbly personality. She will try to make conversation with anybody. And we kind of butt heads in high school just because we're so different. It was always like, Chelsea, make sure you have like a little bit of makeup on. You got to do this. You got to do this. And I was like, Mom, I'm going to soccer practice. Or like, I wanted to be in sweats and I didn't want to wear makeup and all this stuff. But like, once I went to college, like I was away about 5 hours away from my parents. And I truly appreciated coming home and seeing them. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't until probably when I moved out on my own where my relationship changed. Like you say, like you become an adult and you view them so different. I don't know when it was like this shift, but like, it's not like they're almost like my best friends. Mm-hmm. So I grew up in a household where no one cussed. Like we weren't allowed to cuss. My dad wouldn't cuss. I would never hear my mom cuss. And I remember it was like a few years ago, I heard her say the F word for the first time. I was like, excuse me, Mom, what is going on here? So it's now like when I see them, it's just like hanging out with friends. Like, yes, it's this weird kind of concept where it's like, you're still my parents. So I still look at you as like my parents, but then it's like, I'm talking to you like as if you're my best friends. And I was like, hey, I did this the other day. And when I was a kid, I would not tell them anything. I would hide everything from them. Now I'm just like, can't shut up. And it's been really cool to see how it evolves over the years. And I mean, I'm so grateful for them. They gave strict parenting. I really think shaped me for who I am today. I've always never talked back. I've never been one to break rules. I've always been the one that's just like, I'm going to be serious. You guys have fun. I'm going to sit here and like, story was, I don't think I've ever like said this. So in senior year of high school, this girl was having a Halloween party and everyone was drinking. And I knew before I left, my parents were like, make sure you don't drink. And I was like, okay. And I ended up having some drinks and obviously it wasn't a lot. So there was me and two of my best friends and then three guys that I was really good friends with. We left the party because the cops showed up. And so we went out the back, ran down the street and had our friend pick us up in a car. And as we're getting in the car, the cops come down the street and they ended up breathalyzing all of us. And I was out past curfew. It was like midnight. My dad's blowing up my phone. I was trying to look at my phone and the cop was like, put your phone down. And I was like, I'm gonna lose my mind. So I showed up. I had to take the cop car back home because technically I blew a .02, but like obviously you're 18, you can't drink at all. Yeah. So they had to take me in the cop car home, and then I get home and I had to walk to my parents' bedroom, and I just remember my dad just being like, "You son of a bitch, like, what happened?" And I was like, oh God. So that like really was like, okay, I can't. I hate breaking the rules. I hate getting in trouble. And even to when I was quitting my job, I always have wanted approval from my parents because I think I have such respect for them where I'm like, I know I'm an adult. I have to make my own decisions, but there's still this tiny percentage of me where it's like, I don't want to disappoint them. So I still have times where I'm almost seeking their approval, but then it's also at the same time, it's like, no, I don't need to. I just should go to them afterwards.
You want
like, hey,
to.
this, yeah.
Yeah, you
and
want
I think
to.
that's like special to still have that kind of relationship where there's such a center part. My family is such a huge part of my life that decisions do kind of go through them still. Mm-hmm. And I think it's a good thing, but also it's like, okay, Chelsea, you're an adult. Like you don't have to worry every single second about what you're doing for life decisions.
Yeah. No, I think that's actually healthy if you see it in a healthy way though. Like just like still being so close to them and taking their opinions and validation.
Yeah. And it's cool.
That's up to you. Yeah.
Yeah. Cause my dad was even like, when I told him I was quitting, he was like, it's really like, nice of you to think of us like that, but like you're an adult and you can make your own
Like, you don't
decision.
gotta tell me that.
He was like, I appreciate it. And he's like, it's very admirable of you that you are weighing everybody's opinions on something that's about your life when you don't really need to at the end of the day.
Yeah, but also look at how much you've accomplished, and it's not. I mean, you're obviously not waiting for anyone's approval to like make a move necessarily, right? Like you still have accomplished so much. Like, I mean, Hyrox, quitting your job, doing, you know, all your content, your social media. And so I think like we all like to have a second opinion or like a encouraging voice when we're making a difficult decision.
Even from like our friends, we do that, right? And just like you said, you're kind of starting to see them more as like your friends, or there's moments where you're able to see them that way. And I think that's maybe where you're getting the validation from now, rather than like, oh, it's my mom and my dad and I'm scared of them.
When you grow up, it's like when they give you advice, you're like, okay, I don't need to hear this. And now it's like, no, I want to hear what you have to say. Because yes, they're living their life too, but they have so much life under their belt and they've experienced so much. Because they've already been your age at like where you are now, so they have so much to give, and it's like, no, I want to hear what you have to say.
And also, like, at least when you do have this type of relationship with your parents, like, they only want what's best for you at the end of the day too.
Exactly.
So they have the most they're going to give you the most unfiltered, unbiased, like truth to like whatever it is you're coming to them about, like more than anyone else ever. So it's like you almost value that opinion, or you hold that opinion, or you know what they're going to think about something heavier because of the unfiltered response that they're going to give you.
And they've also seen you since you were a child, and they've seen how like their advice has kind of trickled into you, and it's your decision on how you take it. And I think it's cool for them to also see like, hey, this is how I raised these kids, and it's cool to see this is where they are in life now, and it's actually feel like they're doing something correctly almost.
It's also like seeing them and I mean, I'm assuming that you really look up to like where they are in life and how they live their life.
Yeah.
And so it's like when you ask them opinions about stuff, it's like you're like, I respect you and I want to emulate like.
And now that I'm an adult, it's cool to see because my parents are now almost asking me advice for like fitness, working out, like diet, like all this kind of stuff. And it's cool to have that kind of a relationship where I can help them also.
Yeah,
that is really cool.
I have like a very similar relationship with my parents too. Like it wasn't always like this. Like now they literally are my best friends. Like I love hanging out with my parents. I love like I see them almost every day. Like I do almost everything with them. I talk to them every day if I don't see them every day. But it wasn't always like this. Like, you know, growing up, like it's me, my sister, my mom, and my dad. That's our family unit. My mom comes from a really big family, but my mom is like foreign, like very foreign. Grew up in Aruba. Came to America when she went to for high school. She went to like boarding school, and then after that she went to college. That's where she met my dad in college. My dad is like an all-American guy, played like sports in high school from New Jersey, or high school and college from New Jersey. So they come from very different upbringings. So like them together as a couple, like growing up, like my dad traveled a lot for work, right? So, but when he was home, like he was more like the strict parent. Like I always felt like my mom was super strict too, but my dad was like more strict. So like when he was home from a business trip, like we'd had to kind of like have to chill out a little bit more. But like versus like if he was on a trip, like we would go like, oh, we're gonna go to every party this weekend. Like dad's on home, like whatever, or we're gonna stay out later this weekend because dad's not home. Things like that. And like my mom would like control it to an extent, but as we got older, she would kind of get a little bit more lenient. And then sometimes we would get out of control and then she'd have to reel us back in. And then my dad would come home from a trip and he'd be like, what are you doing? Like these girls, like, you know, so it's one thing to like me and my mom were always close in a way, but then you're still a teenager and you have all these raging hormones and then you still get into disagreements. And my God, you would swear we were enemies at the end of the day of certain days. Right. So it was definitely like a lot of ups and downs, but like, I mean, and also like my mom is like, her background is from Aruba, so it's like Hispanic, right? So like I was getting whipped, you know. I was getting the sandal, I was getting spanked, my ear pulled, my hair pulled. Like I wasn't like just getting grounded. I was getting beat as well. But and I remember in those moments, right? Like I think in my head, I'm like, I hate my parents, I hate my family, I hate this. Like I'm gonna grow up, I'm never gonna talk to them. You have all these like feelings, but then you get over them. And like now, like looking back at my childhood, like sure, I remember some of these like little crazy moments that happened, but like overall, like I can't even say it was bad. You know, like I had a very, very great life upbringing. And now like to the point where like my parents, like I went away for college and like that's really where it started to shift. Like I was like, oh, I was so excited to leave the house and like not live with them anymore. But then once I was in college, I found myself missing them and I would, you know, come home more willingly, like not only for holidays, but like I would find like a weekend. I was like, I guess I'll come home this weekend and like see my family. And then they would, you know, especially when I was in Texas, like I don't know. It's just like, as I got older, I just like found myself like needing my mom more, like needing to talk to her more, like, but both my parents really. And then once I graduated, like, I mean, my parents still lived in Florida for a very long time. They recently just moved to Dallas, literally for the sole purpose of being close to me. Cause they're like,
which is so cute. I so love cute that so much.
And so sweet. And like, it's just cool because like, I don't know, like you're only where you are like in the current moment, right? So like being 16, 17, 18, 19, I would have never pictured this. Oh, they're going to move out of their way to like, you know, come be by me. But like now it's like, it's the best thing ever. Like, I'm so grateful, and it's so cute that they wanted to. Like my mom, like we're so close. My sister lives in New York City, so it's different, right? Like they're not going to move to New York City. So thinking about that, she's like, well, like, you know, you're like getting, your life's like coming together now. You're an adult. Like, why are we so far from each other? Like, why do we only see each other on holidays? Why do we have to get on a plane to see each other? Like, we should be able to see each other more often. Like, what's the point of life? All this stuff. And I was like, you know, you're right. So they kind of put wheels in motion to move to Dallas, and now they're here. And yeah, like it's been cool to like be a friend to them now too. Like you said, like I'm a big influence on like their health and wellness journey. Like they're always in my classes. Like I take my mom to the gym, you know, I get dinner with them. I can just pop into their house. There's lunch ready. Like it's so different for me from how I was living my life. Like really, it was like the past 10 years I was like away from them, like throughout college. And then when I moved for them, and then them coming here the past year, it's great. Like the adult relationship, the evolution has been great, and I'm very grateful.
It's honestly so fun as an outsider just to watch your family too.
Yes.
Like I love you guys, and like seeing your parents come to the workouts, it's the cutest thing in the entire world, and I want my family to be like that close one day. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like you guys
of
are
course.
just so yeah, admirable. We love to say
And
that
the
word.
way
this
that-
podcast.
We're on both.
Episode admirable. No, it's so cute. And like your dad always says hi to me whenever I'm leaving class, and then going to the mall with you and your mom was so fun. We should honestly run that back.
My
I
mom
had
loves
so
to
much
hang
fun.
with the girls. She loves it.
But your family is just the cutest. Do you also think like you really liked kind of being raised more strict, and then
I mean, at the moment, I hated it. Like in the moment, oh my God. I remember I had the craziest thoughts. I literally was like, I'm like going to disown myself from this family. Like I'm nothing like these people. Like I'm never going to like want to do anything with them. So yeah, like now it's like you start realizing like why your parents did certain things that they did. Obviously my frontal lobe was not fully developed while I was
isn't
having
that a
those
crazy
thoughts.
thing to have that click on? It really did click on.
It's actually crazy. I probably wouldn't like if I, you know, like you said, Chelsea's, you're like, yeah, I was always like a rule follower. Like, yeah, my parents were strict, but like I'd talk back. Like they would leave, they would go out. They're like, okay, you guys like chill at home. I'd be like, yeah, I'm just gonna have a few friends over. Like we're just a girls' night. I'd have a full on party and then like make sure everything's clean before they got home. Like, I mean, I would get caught sometimes, but like I was doing anything and everything to just like sneak around and like still do the things I wanted to do. You know?
And you know what? I'm sure your parents are so relieved that everything worked out.
I think about that. I'm like, see, like I'm not so bad.
You turned out just fine.
I turned out just fine.
But it's funny because you've got to think like as a parent at their age when they were raising you, I mean, they were probably so stressed.
I think about some of the things that my parents have caught me in, and just like the certain situations I've put them in, and I'm like, I don't know what I probably wouldn't have I don't even know if I would handle it as well as they handled it. So kudos to my parents. Thanks for not doing more than you did.
Shout out to all the parents for birthing us too.
Yeah.
Bringing us
Shout
into
out.
the world, babies.
Shout
We wouldn't be here without you.
I always tell them that. I'm like, anytime they tell me thanks for something, I'm like, thanks for bringing me here. Thanks for giving me life. You know?
You're the reason I'm here.
Thanks for having me. But yeah, I think we all have obviously different relationships with our parents. And I think, yeah, like we said, this is the admirable theme, but like there's things about each of these relationships that we all admire from each other. So,
And also learn so much from.
totally.
Yeah.
Totally. And I know that, you know, there's so many different kinds of parent relationships out there in the world. So my heart's with you if it's not the strongest. But
And I'm excited for all of us one day to potentially have families of our own.
totally.
One last thing I want to say is I think it's so important to talk about experiences because obviously I just went through a whole debrief of my relationship with my mom, but like the more I talk about it, the more I find other people that are similar and the more people that relate. But then also like, I don't know, it's just really good to get like a full picture of like all the things that life has to offer, because at the end of the day, like I think all of these shared experiences are really what life is all about. And like just like the connections that we find with each other, like good or bad or whatever, just how they shape you.
Absolutely.
Well,
And with that,
Oh, well, next weekend, two of them, Kelbi and Francesca, will not be here. So it's going to be me and Suzanne. We're going to do like a little live Q&A. So drop us questions in the comments and we'll put stuff on the Instagram. And we'll see you guys next week.
We're talking about challenge, right? So
yeah, we're going to be doing challenges. I start 75 hard in 2 days.
Oh God.
And then you're going to do Tone Up 30.
I'm going to do Tone Up 30 again as well. I'm not starting in 2 days. We're going to
start on day 45 when I'm on day 45. So we end on the same day.
That's like a Friday though. So I'm like, I don't know. I might pick a different day to start, but we're going to start somewhere.
But you start in 2 days?
I start, yeah.
So I only have 2 days to get a margarita with you?
Okay, yeah, we gotta
kick it into gear.
Guys, let's go get a margarita right now.
We're getting a margarita. But yeah, okay. Well,
see
with
you guys
that,
next time, don't give any fucks.
not a single one.
Bye. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe anywhere you stream your podcasts.